region where every technological leap by one nation instantly forces its neighbor to respond, where missiles are not just instruments of defense but symbols of national pride and existential anxiety, and where a single miscalculation could ignite a chain reaction with global consequences. This is the tense reality of South Asia today, and at the heart of Western analysts' concern is Pakistan's evolving missile strategy. Pakistan's rapid advancement in missile technology has become one of the central points of anxiety for Western defense analysts, not because military modernization itself is unusual, but because of the pace, scope, and intent driving it. In just a few decades, Pakistan has shifted from being almost entirely dependent on imported systems to producing a homegrown and highly diverse missile arsenal that includes short-range tactical weapons, medium-range ballistic missiles, and increasingly sophisticated cruise missile platforms. What alarms analysts is that these capabilities are not being developed in isolation. They are being crafted with very specific, regional and strategic calculations in mind, especially in the context of the country's enduring rivalry with India. Western observers see this trajectory as a deliberate strategy to counterbalance India's conventional superiority by leveraging rapid missile innovation as a force equalizer. The fact that Pakistan has tested systems like the Shaheen, Ghaznavi and Babur series reflects a maturity in its technological infrastructure that goes far beyond symbolic power projection. These missiles are not simply for parades or deterrent posturing. They are built with accuracy, mobility, and survivability in mind, making them a serious operational capability that alters the calculus of conflict in South Asia. What makes this evolution particularly concerning is that Pakistan has managed to sustain these advancements despite economic difficulties, political instability, and reliance on external partnerships. To Western defense experts, this demonstrates a prioritization of missile development that supersedes almost every other domestic challenge. It is seen as a conscious decision by the state to guarantee strategic deterrence through technology rather than through diplomacy or alliances. Analysts also note the role of external assistance in enabling this growth, whether through earlier Chinese support, North Korean exchanges, or indigenous reverse engineering efforts. The result is a program that appears resilient, adaptive, and determined to expand, regardless of external pressure or internal crises. This resilience signals that missile capability is deeply embedded in Pakistan's national security doctrine, not a temporary or opportunistic pursuit. The speed of this progress also unsettles Western analysts because it suggests that Pakistan may soon bridge the gap between existing deterrence and advanced second strike capabilities. Mobile launchers, solid fuel technology, and stealthier cruise missiles are all indicators that the program is designed for survivability against preemptive strikes, something that complicates adversaries' strategic calculations. For the West, this raises difficult questions about how deterrence is managed in South Asia, especially when paired with Pakistan's declared readiness to defend itself against conventional threats with missile-based responses. Unlike in the Cold War, where superpowers maintained relatively clear communication channels and doctrines, South Asia's volatile environment, marked by border disputes, terrorism, and political instability, makes the missile build-up a potential trigger for rapid escalation. This is why Western defense analysts interpret Pakistan's rapid missile advancement not as routine military modernization, but as a destabilizing factor that challenges both regional and global security architectures. Pakistan's nuclear deterrence strategy, particularly its integration of nuclear warheads into a growing and diverse missile arsenal, is a source of significant concern for Western defense analysts because it fundamentally reshapes the strategic environment of South Asia. Unlike conventional weapons, nuclear missiles carry the potential for immediate, catastrophic consequences, and Pakistan's approach appears deliberately designed to complicate adversaries' calculations while maintaining a credible deterrent. Analysts point out that Pakistan has pursued a doctrine of ambiguity regarding its nuclear threshold, often leaving unclear whether it would employ nuclear weapons first in a crisis or only in response to a nuclear strike. This uncertainty, while arguably intended to deter aggression, increases the risk of miscalculation, particularly in high-tension situations with India, its primary regional rival. The combination of short-range, medium-range, and potentially long-range systems means that Pakistan can threaten a wide array of strategic and tactical targets, from military installations deep within India to critical infrastructure, thereby creating a constant strategic pressure that Western observers view as destabilizing. A critical aspect of concern is the speed and readiness of Pakistan's nuclear-capable missile forces. Mobile launchers, hardened silos, and advancements in missile accuracy suggest that these weapons could be deployed rapidly, reducing warning times in the event of a crisis. From a Western perspective, this rapid deployability creates a scenario where decisions must be made under extreme time pressure, heightening the risk of accidental or unintended escalation. Unlike Cold War deterrence, where superpowers developed extensive communication protocols and second-strike survivability, South Asia lacks such institutionalized crisis management frameworks, making nuclear ambiguity particularly dangerous. Analysts fear that even a relatively small border incident could spiral into a high-stakes confrontation if Pakistan's nuclear missile posture is misinterpreted as offensive rather than defensive. The psychological and strategic calculus behind Pakistan's nuclear integration is also a matter of scrutiny. Western defense experts note that the presence of nuclear-capable missiles serves not only as a deterrent but also as leverage in conventional conflicts, allowing Pakistan to offset India's larger conventional military advantages. This creates a dynamic where conventional confrontations are inherently riskier because any escalation might provoke a nuclear response, whether by design or miscalculation. The ambiguity surrounding Pakistan's first-use policy compounds this issue, as analysts cannot reliably predict the threshold at which nuclear weapons would be employed. In essence, Pakistan's nuclear missile strategy introduces a level of strategic uncertainty that challenges traditional deterrence models. The combination of technological sophistication, doctrinal ambiguity, and regional rivalries makes this a persistent concern for Western defense analysts, who view it as a destabilizing factor with implications not only for South Asia but for global nuclear security norms. Pakistan's development and deployment of tactical nuclear weapons, TNWs, has become a focal point of concern for Western defense analysts because it fundamentally lowers the threshold for nuclear conflict in South Asia. Unlike strategic nuclear weapons, which are designed for long-range deterrence and primarily target an adversary's cities or military infrastructure, tactical nuclear weapons are intended for use on the battlefield to counter conventional military superiority. Pakistan's pursuit of TNWs reflects a doctrine aimed at neutralizing India's conventional advantages, signaling that in the event of a conflict, nuclear weapons could be used not as a last resort deterrent, but as an integrated part of military strategy. Western analysts view this shift as highly destabilizing because it transforms nuclear weapons from a tool of deterrence into a potential instrument of active warfare. The mere presence of these systems on the battlefield significantly complicates operational planning and increases the likelihood of rapid escalation, where conventional skirmishes could quickly cross the nuclear threshold. The development of tactical nuclear weapons involves smaller, more maneuverable warheads that can be deployed on short-range ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and potentially even artillery systems. These systems are specifically designed for survivability and rapid deployment, allowing them to be positioned close to potential conflict zones along the India-Pakistan border. Western defense experts are concerned that this mobility, combined with their nuclear capability, creates a high-risk environment in which misperceptions or accidents could lead to unintended nuclear use. Unlike strategic weapons, which are typically centralized and heavily guarded, TNWs require more dispersed storage and deployment, inherently increasing the risk of security lapses or miscalculations in tense situations. Analysts stress that in a high-stakes confrontation, even a minor tactical exchange involving these weapons could trigger a broader escalation, potentially drawing in larger strategic nuclear forces and creating catastrophic consequences. Another point of concern is the psychological effect that tactical nuclear weapons have on regional military planning. India, aware of Pakistan's TNW capabilities, may feel compelled to adopt more aggressive preemptive doctrines or develop countermeasures, creating a cycle of escalation and arms competition. Western analysts warn that the introduction of TNWs into a volatile region with unresolved territorial disputes, historical conflicts, and deep-seated mistrust substantially increases the chance of misjudgment. The strategic logic behind TNWs, designed to deter conventional attacks, paradoxically makes the environment more volatile because both sides are constantly calculating risks with weapons that could annihilate large areas in minutes. This combination of operational flexibility, doctrinal integration, and psychological pressure makes Pakistan's focus on tactical nuclear weapons a central point of unease for Western defense observers. Western defense analysts are particularly concerned about the potential for proliferation arising from Pakistan's missile and nuclear technology programs, given the country's historical involvement with sensitive weapons technologies. While Pakistan's missile advancements have bolstered its national security, they have also raised fears that the expertise, materials, and systems developed could be transferred intentionally or unintentionally to other states or non-state actors. Analysts point to past incidents in which Pakistan's nuclear scientists and networks were implicated in technology transfers, creating a precedent that heightens apprehension about future risks. The dual-use nature of missile technology compounds this problem. Systems designed for national defense can often be adapted for export or clandestine proliferation. The concern is not purely hypothetical. Any leakage of missile know-how, even inadvertently, could accelerate the nuclear or missile ambitions of rogue states, destabilizing regions far beyond South Asia and complicating Western efforts to maintain global non-proliferation norms. Western observers also note that Pakistan's missile development, while largely focused on regional deterrence, occurs within a geopolitical environment where technological safeguards may not be as stringent as in other nuclear-capable states. Analysts worry that strategic partnerships and collaborations, both formal and informal, could facilitate the dissemination of advanced missile designs. Historical ties with North Korea and China, for instance, demonstrate that technology and expertise can cross borders under the guise of legitimate development programs. This raises the specter of unintended consequences, where Pakistan's pursuit of a credible deterrent indirectly contributes to the spread of missile technology beyond its borders. Even minor mismanagement, theft, or insider cooperation could result in sensitive technologies reaching actors whose intentions are hostile to global security, a scenario that Western defense analysts view with grave concern. The potential proliferation risk is further magnified by the ambiguity surrounding Pakistan's export controls and internal oversight mechanisms. Analysts highlight that, while formal regulations exist, the operational reality can be more opaque, making it difficult for external observers to assess whether missile and nuclear technologies are fully secured against unauthorized transfer. This lack of transparency contributes to broader anxieties about the country's strategic posture, as it introduces uncertainty regarding who might eventually gain access to advanced weapons capabilities. In a global security environment already challenged by rogue states, terrorism, and regional conflicts, the idea that sensitive missile or nuclear technologies could proliferate is seen as a serious threat that undermines international arms control frameworks and non-proliferation agreements. Finally, Western analysts interpret Pakistan's approach to missile development as signaling an implicit acceptance of risk. While the programs are undoubtedly intended for deterrence and national defense, the country's historical track record and the dual-use nature of missile technology suggest that proliferation remains a persistent, unresolved issue. Even with strict intentions, the technical knowledge, infrastructure, and components developed for Pakistan's own security could inadvertently enable others to develop similar capabilities. This reality places Pakistan's missile strategy in a delicate balance. It strengthens national defense while simultaneously posing proliferation risks that extend far beyond South Asia, a tension that continues to preoccupy Western defense observers and shape their assessments of global security. Pakistan's missile strategy is intrinsically linked to the ongoing regional arms race with India, and this dynamic is a significant concern for Western defense analysts. Each technological advancement by Pakistan is closely mirrored by India's own missile development programs, creating a cycle of action and reaction that accelerates weapons modernization on both sides. Western experts view this as particularly destabilizing because the competition extends beyond conventional systems to include nuclear-capable missiles and tactical nuclear weapons, raising the stakes of any conflict. Pakistan's layered approach, combining short-range, medium-range, and long-range missiles, ensures that it can respond flexibly to threats while maintaining a credible deterrent against Indian military superiority. The South Asian arms race draws the attention of global powers, including China, Russia, and the United States, each with strategic interests in the region. China's technological support to Pakistan is seen as a counterbalance to India, while Western powers monitor developments to ensure broader regional stability and prevent disruptions to non-proliferation norms. This external involvement transforms a regional arms race into a situation with global implications, where any miscalculation could reverberate far beyond the subcontinent. Analysts emphasize that unresolved territorial disputes, historical hostilities, and domestic political instability make the competition especially volatile. Pakistan's missile strategy presents a complex challenge for Western defense analysts because the country occupies a dual role as both a strategic partner and a source of regional instability. On one hand, Pakistan has been an important ally in counter-terrorism operations and intelligence sharing, contributing to regional security initiatives that align with Western interests. This cooperation makes it difficult for analysts and policymakers to adopt a confrontational stance regarding Pakistan's missile programs, as doing so could jeopardize broader security partnerships. On the other hand, the rapid development and deployment of short, medium, and long-range missile systems, along with tactical nuclear capabilities, introduces significant uncertainties into the regional security environment. Analysts are acutely aware that Pakistan's missile advancements, while defensive in intent, can create conditions for rapid escalation and miscalculation, complicating the efforts of the West to maintain stability in South Asia. The ambiguity surrounding Pakistan's nuclear and missile policies further intensifies these concerns. Unlike states that maintain clear doctrines and transparent protocols, Pakistan's policies on nuclear thresholds, first use, and deployment patterns remain deliberately opaque. This uncertainty makes it difficult for Western analysts to predict responses in a crisis scenario, complicating strategic planning and risk assessment. Proliferation risks add another layer of concern, as sensitive missile technology and expertise could, intentionally or unintentionally, reach other states or non-state actors. Analysts must therefore navigate a delicate balance, acknowledging Pakistan's role as a security partner while mitigating the destabilizing effects of its missile programs. The duality of Pakistan's position, both cooperative and potentially destabilizing, places Western defense analysts in a persistent strategic dilemma, forcing careful consideration of how to engage, monitor, and respond to developments in its missile arsenal. Pakistan's missile strategy poses a complex challenge, balancing national defense and regional deterrence while raising significant concerns for global security and stability.